In this title card, we see the titular bitchular herself next to Finn and Jake fighting on some trash. That's it. There isn't even a background for this one. Finn and Jake fighting is a weird thing to include in this title card because they never actually fight in this episode. Finn gets mad and yells at Jake, but Jake doesn't even yell back, and he certainly doesn't do anything like this. Also, we can assume that this junk that they're fighting on is the same junk from the Junk River where Finn does yell at Jake.
Wow! It looks cool in there.
Maybe I'm an asshole, but this kind of just looks like a grassy hallway to me, which is kind of cool. But for Finn and Jake to think that, you guys live in a tree. This is your everyday. They can't even see the donuts and all from here. Speaking of, there is a donut with bones sticking out on the back of the lock that Finn and Jake wouldn't see.
Too bad we don't have the key to this.
What are you talking about? I got 2 keys right here.
First of all, I'm surprised that Jake didn't use his key hand here. It seemed like they were setting that up. And second, Jake is doing that weird stretching sound again. I pointed it out in previous videos, but early on, it seems like they weren't sold on the rubbing a balloon stretching sound for Jake. So sometimes they would use this other, more musical sound. It happened in the last episode, but I didn't say anything there. But now that Jake's powers are on display, it seems much more obvious. I'll play it again, listen.
I got 2 keys right here.
Also, this looks like a face. In the witch's garden,
Hey, that's the name of the show.
the witch grows mostly donut bushes, but also what look to be muffin flowers and, my favorite, croissant trees. All very breakfasty food. Maybe the witch is from the Breakfast Kingdom or something, and she got banished because she kept taking people's powers.
I don't know what poison smells like.
Hey!
Finn and Jake both make really stupid faces when the witch calls them. They even keep doing it in the next shot for like 8 frames.
Holy slug, lady, calm down.
Listen, Mrs. Witch.
I never married.
There are quite a few jokes in this episode, and if I can be honest, the witch hogs all the good ones. We get a similar case to Penny from the last episode of really good voice acting for a one-off character. The witch is voiced by the amazing Maria Bamford, who is all over this show. All of her deliveries are spot on, and she has such a weird attitude about her. Plus, she is a little bit crazy, and it all comes together really well to make this witch. Only thing I'm not such a huge fan of is the way that she'll sometimes make her voice deeper. It's supposed to be funny, and I can see it being funny. It's just not my thing. Also, her pupils are donuts.
Listen, Mrs. Witch.
I never married.
Well, I never ate your donuts.
You're eating one right now.
I'm not. Whoa!
In Jake's defense, this does look to be a bagel. Dry, brown, no frosting. And knowing how the witch feels about bagels, if she knew that's what Jake was eating, she may have rewarded him. But maybe not. This lady is crazy.
That's weird. I don't even remember grabbing this. My subconscious must be hungry, huh?
Keep this in your mind. I'm going to bring it up later.
I stripped him of his magical powers. For stealing one of your billions of donuts?
Yeah, it's not like I killed your husband or something.
I am not married.
This is the best joke in the episode, in my opinion. She really does not want people to think she was married for whatever reason.
The only way I'll give back your powers is if you admit your error and say you're sorry.
Well, you can forget it because you're the one who's wrong, right?
Total support, dude.
I don't know if this is like the point and I'm stupid, but Finn and especially Jake are such assholes in this episode. They trespass into her garden that she clearly did not want people in, and then Jake eats one of the donuts and doesn't even feel bad, and then when she rightfully retaliates, they say she overreacted. But to reference Jake here, it's not like she killed him, she just took his powers, and then made it really easy to get them back, just apologize. But they just refuse to for like no reason. And all I'll say from here is that they are not very heroic in this episode.
Are you all right, my donut pretties? Wait a second.
You're a bagel! Liars! Liars everywhere!
So there are a lot of people in the community that headcanon Jake as being black, if he were human. And all the people who dislike that headcanon cite this episode as evidence that Jake would actually be white because of his powerless body being that of a white guy. But seeing how the witch does this to this bagel as well, and how the bagel also has a white body, I think it's a more convincing theory that the witch is just a racist and makes everybody white. Snail, pretty obvious one. A little too obvious for my liking, but whatever.
There's gotta be a way to get your powers back. Where'd they come from anyway? Were you born with them? Or did you have a freak industrial accident?
So this is the first, and as far as I can remember, the only time the origins of Jake's powers are questioned. And for nearly the entire series, the answer of magic mud puddles and Jake just being magic are the only things we have to go off until season 6. In the 172nd episode, Joshua and Margaret Investigations, we learn that Jake is actually half alien. Before that, I think the only hint that we ever get that Jake might not actually be magic is when PB says his powers look to be the result of a genetic mutation or something.
All right, what am I then? This don't look like magic to you?
It looks like a mutation.
Boring.
Yeah, right.
And that's in season 5.
Maybe the first mud puddle we find will be the right one.
Nonsense. But I like it.
Then away!
This happens a few times in the episode, but I'll just point out this one to save time. But sometimes the dialogue is like too fast. Characters will respond to each other almost before the other one is finished talking, and it's kind of jarring. Like just now, there should have been some kind of pause between Jake finishing his sentence and then Finn responding to it, but it was like immediate, almost before he was done even talking.
Running is evil.
Come on, lazy bones!
It's too hard.
I guess you could ride on my backpack.
Now that's what I call relatable. Also, more weird timing between the too hard line and the backpack line. I feel like a quick, oh, from Finn would have worked well between those lines. Like instead of him immediately offering up his backpack to ride on, maybe he just thought about it for a second and then said it. You know, just something to break up those two sentences. I checked every single shot in this episode where you can see the junk river, and there is nothing worth mentioning, unless you want to count this Christmas tree. Which, if all this junk are remnants from a pre-Mushroom War society, then it would make sense, but other than that, it's just trash bags, bones, and a lot of teddy bears for some reason. It would have made for a great spot to put the snail for this episode, instead of just in the grass. Also, I might as well mention that Finn and Jake seem to be in some kind of city, or maybe a highway from before the war, by the looks of all these broken roads and car parts all over. We even see a plane engine in the background in a few shots. More of that apocalypse shadowing.
Starting to really miss that old magic of mine.
We can swim this river easy.
Okay, seriously, this will be the last time I'm going to point out the weird timing. But I will also say that every time it has been Finn speaking too quickly. So to keep it in universe, we can chalk it up to Finn being an overeager kid.
It is way too hard to swim across the river. It's easier to wear a hat. Here, have a hat.
Jake's subconscious brings Jake a real hat from the real junk river to wear on his real head. Finn even sees Jake wearing this hat in the next shot. Keep that in mind, I'm going to bring it up later.
What's wrong with that guy? They just wait for me there!
Finn seems to hold his breath when he goes under, but I like to think it's not because he can't breathe. He's literally grunting the whole time. But because it's just gross and he doesn't want to smell it or get any of it in his mouth. Also, holy shit, that is genuinely freaky. Got my megalohydrothalassophobia going. You can Google that one. I had to.
What you working on, Finn?
Everything.
I'm just realizing Finn says everything kind of under his breath when Jake asks what he's doing, since he really is doing everything and Jake is not contributing at all.
You should roll in the mud with me, Finn. We can both be magic.
Yeah! This isn't working at all.
Okay, this isn't exactly a timing thing, it's kind of more of a pacing issue. Finn goes from incredibly happy to deciding it's not working a bit abruptly. I feel like we could have had like one added shot of Finn questioning if it was working before announcing it. Even just him making a questioning face for a second would have worked good there.
This is stupid. Just go back to the witch and apologize and get your powers back.
Never. I'd rather be powerless forever than apologize. I'm lazy but prideful.
Jake is such an asshole in this episode for no reason. He's usually the kind of moral compass for Finn, trying to keep him in line and do good, especially later in the show when he really adopts that role. But for this episode, he's really got a chip on his shoulder for some fucking reason. This Jake is a far cry from the one who would end up in the 50th Dead World.
You're not even trying, man! First you won't run, and now you keep, and no matter what, you...
Adventuring is too much hard work for a bro without his powers.
But you are an adventurer.
Finn never really brings it up, and Jake is probably too stupid to notice at this point. But Finn is probably really frustrated with Jake because he's complaining about things being too hard to do without powers, but Finn has been doing everything his whole life without them. and so he's probably feeling underappreciated for just being able to keep up with Jake regularly. And also, we kind of get a small hint that Jake doesn't really like adventuring. He only really does it for Finn, who loves it, and he only really did it when it was easy for him with his powers.
Behold the beautiful mermaid of the river. Which one of you mortals wants to mate with all this?
Funnily enough, I really liked the design of this mermaid that never comes up later. I also like that they even call her a mermaid, despite the fact that she has 0 fish attributes, flies, and is a giant skeleton. I really like how she uses her hair as arm replacements, and the fact that her hands are just regular skeletal hands. Her eyes are really cool, and spitting tar and having blue fire works well enough as junk powers. Also, it is insane that she pops out and asks to fuck. Like, what the hell are we doing?
So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I ate your donut. So do I get my powers back?
Apology denied.
What? Why?
Because you took too long. Now you have to apologize while doing a variety of humiliating things.
Denying the apology for taking too long is something I've done to my sister, and she's done plenty of times to me. So I really get what the witch is going with here.
No way, Jose. Come on, dude. It's the only way to save Finn.
Who is that?
He's my subconscious.
Then he has to do it too.
Aw.
Alright, time to talk about it. Every time Jake's subconscious comes up, it's always doing stuff that should not be possible. Getting him the donut, giving him the hat, and now being involved with this embarrassing stuff. I like to think that this subconscious stuff is Jake using a little bit of those reality warping imagination skills that we see from Rainy Day Daydream. And Finn couldn't see Jake's subconscious at the river the same way he couldn't see anything in the episode. But how does the witch see it then? That's an easy one. Wizard eyes. Same as the Ice King and any other wizard for that matter. They can see what regular folks cannot see, like Ice King does with the spirits from beyond this earthly realm. And now how the witch is doing with Jake's imagination, or subconscious. None of this matters, and it's probably not even true, but it's always fun trying to tie two things together that were likely not meant to be tied. That is how we got the show Cat Dog after all.
I, Jake the dog, while slow dancing with my subconscious with flowers in my underwear, do humbly apologize.
Wait, start over.
You're recording this?
It's for my newsletter.
This punishment isn't really that bad, you know. It kind of sucks she's recording, but really the subconscious isn't showing up in the camera. Hey, editing, Uncle Lloyd here. I guess my mic cut out or something. I was trying to say that it probably wasn't so bad because Jake's subconscious self probably wouldn't show up on camera. Okay, bye. But also, looking like you're dancing with nobody with flowers in your underwear might be worse than doing it with a copy of you who is translucent. But come on, your brother's about to die. Put it aside.
If only I were a humbler guy, my subconscious would be alive and my best bud wouldn't be trapped in a mermaid's nest.
All right, I think you've learned your lesson.
I forgive you.
The witch seems a little cruel for letting Jake's subconscious die so he learns a lesson, but it's not a real person, and he comes right back when he does get his powers back, so there was really no harm done.
Ah, so is that how you got your powers back? You apologized to the witch?
No way. I must have found the right mud puddle.
And the last thing I'll say is something I've been saying for this whole video. Jake is such an asshole for no reason in this episode. And he doesn't even admit to Finn that he did apologize. What kind of lessons are you trying to teach this kid, Jake? Though I do have to admit, when he swiped the witch's cane, it was really funny.
How can I ever thank... Ha! Gotcha, Kane.
Nothing to add to the counters today, and nothing of note from the Wicked Trivia either. So let's get right into the final thoughts. I don't really have much to say on this episode any more than I did throughout the episode. Jake is uncharacteristically an asshole, and the episode has kind of a pacing issue. But I do have to say, the episode itself is pretty funny. Specifically, the witch is very funny. I thought she was great. Maria Bamford did a great job on that. And clearly what they were going for in this episode was not really trying to figure out the origins of Jake's powers. It was just an episode trying to be funny. You know, the main joke of the episode was that Jake was a fat, little, chubby guy. So, in the regard of comedy, they succeeded. And that's what they were going for the whole episode, so they succeeded in their entire goal. I think I'm going to start up a segment for these final thoughts where I go through the episodes I'm talking about and see if they have anything that comes up later in a much more relevant way, whether it be plot or lore or whatever. And this episode definitely does have that. You know, having Jake's powers get questioned is something that doesn't get paid off until way later, and it's something you didn't really think needed paying off with this episode. Jake says it's a magic puddle, so you assume it's a magic puddle. Unrelated, but I want to give a huge shout out to A4 the God 4699 and Jaden Vaughn 1595. They've been around since the very first video, and they're the only ones to have stuck around for the rest. I especially love seeing Jaden Vaughn's comments on my videos because he always goes crazy into detail with his analyses. Analysis? I don't know. Leaving a whole book's worth of comments on my videos, and I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate the both of them for having been there for all these videos. Thank you guys for being here. I love seeing y'all's comments. Speaking of, but not really, if you guys wanted to get these videos a week early, I have a Patreon now. So if that sounds cool to you, the link will of course be below. Next week we're going to be looking at What is Life? And I say it's the introduction of the best robot character. Yeah, I did say it. So tune in for that. Like and subscribe and all that yada yada. That's all I've got to say. So, later!